Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Virginia. This is my first video on YouTube, so I'm kindly asking you to subscribe. Karibu sana. The reason I'm making this video is because I've heard a lot of myths regarding the life in Europe or the life in the diaspora in general. And I'm not here to correct whatever you've heard in the past or maybe to criticize the videos that have been made in the past. I'm just here to give you, my experience, my life story. I've been living here in Germany for the last 26 years. That means I came here when I was a very young girl, and I've spent all my adult life in this country. So, what was my first experience when I came to this country? The first experience, just like anybody else who is migrating to a new country, of course, is that cultural shock. And I mean, you never get quite prepared, because going to a country for a visit for only a short period of time and actually living in a country, those are two different things. When you go visiting a country, I mean, there's that excitement, there's that euphoria, everything seems so perfect, and actually you would even want to come back. You fantasize about living in that country, but the moment you start living in that country, things are so different, and it dawns on you it's not all sugar and spice and all things nice as we tend to think. Well, when I came to Germany, I was living in a very, very small village, and I was the only black person in that village. So you can imagine how life was. And I was faced with a lot of adversity back then because, of course, there's this language barrier. You don't have friends. And as I said, it was a very tiny village. And to catch the bus to go to the next town, I had to walk for quite a few minutes. And it was so devastating. You get so lonely, and I questioned my decision to come to Germany. And I remember I had a return ticket, because back then, I don't know how things are at the moment, but back then, buying a return ticket, even though you were not planning to go back to your country of origin, it was much cheaper buying a return ticket. So I had this return ticket, which I kept for the longest time, because I thought, if I don't like it here, I will go back home. But of course, you don't do that when you're a married woman, because I was married back then. And as I said, I just kept thinking, what the hell was I thinking about when I was coming, when I made that decision to come to Germany. But after some time, we moved to a bigger town. And that's when I started really kind of, enjoying being in a foreign country, because at least I got to meet other Kenyans, other Africans. And because it was a bigger town, at least you get to move around, you get to, mingle with other people. So it was around 1997, 98 when I really felt that I could actually live in this country. And I went to the language school. I got my first job, which I'll be telling you about in a few. And through all that, I just knew that people need to get really well informed before making that decision to go to live in another foreign country, because it's not as easy as we tend to think. And this misconception that everything falls into place. I mean, I was so lucky, because I didn't have that struggle of having to fight for the stay permit or for work permit. I mean, everything for me was really, really smooth in comparison to other people who really had to go through hell to get the work permit or the permanent visa. For me, things were a little bit easy, and for that was and I was very grateful. So around 1998, I think that's when I settled in my first job, and it was in a hotel, and we used to make beds. And even though it was a 4-star hotel, it was just next to my place, so I didn't really have to, struggle getting to my place of work. I didn't like it. I'm not trying to downgrade any kind of job, but it was really tough. It's a job that I had never done. And making beds, like, it's not just making beds. It's really making beds to perfection. And you're making about 10, 15 beds, and, hooving the rooms and cleaning the bathrooms. And I used to hate myself. And every time I got home, I was like, no, I can't do this for long. But, bills have to be paid. And I was trying also to start my driving lessons. So it was a struggle. It was a struggle. I was glad to be making a bit of money, but I'm telling you, the job was tough. The job was tough. And because you are qualified, you are categorized as an unskilled worker, the pay was not so much. But as I said, bills had to be paid. I remember I used to get home. I think my sister will remember this story. I used to get home, put water in the bathtub, and kneel there for a couple of minutes because my knees used to ache. And I was like, oh Lord, this is not a job I want to do for so long. Well, I worked in that job for about 2 years. And after that, I got a job in a call center. I thought it was an upgrade back then, but after working there for about 2 years, I was like, God, this is not it. This is not what I really want to do. But it was, at least it was not a physical job, but it was a job where you needed no skills at all. And I stayed on there for about 4 years. And I remember in the 4th year, I just thought, no, I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it anymore. Because it came to a point that we were selling things, even underwear on the internet and on these channels, these channels where they sell clothes and, and jewelry. And I thought, no, I'm not doing it. So I got a sick leave, and during this sick leave, I resigned. I resigned not knowing where my next paycheck was going to come from. And the problem in Germany, when you resign a job, you're not entitled to unemployment benefits. Actually, it's a kind of a punishment. For 3 months, you're not entitled to any unemployment benefits. And during this time, they start sending you letters, they start phoning you that you have to start applying for a job, because they want to make sure that when these 3 months are over, you get employed. And it's like they want you to get in any form of employment, which I can really understand, because many people tend to misuse, these unemployment benefits. And I remember I was so sure that I was never ever going to settle for another unskilled job. So I got the 3 months punishment. I was not getting a penny from the government, but I was okay with that. And during this time, I started looking for possibilities to go back to school. And that's how I landed into a nursing school, even though I really didn't understand what really nursing, well, what nursing is all about, but nursing in a foreign country, nursing in a foreign language, I really didn't know what awaited me. But I was ready to give it a try, and I applied to 3 schools. And the first school I applied to, I got the admission, and I just went for the interview totally unprepared, but for some reason they accepted me. And that's how I began my nursing journey in 2004. That's when I joined my nursing school, 2004, in September, October, around that month. And well, nursing school was not, and it's still not, a walk in the park. It was a hard, very, very strenuous journey, especially the first 6 months, because everything is so new. And learning a foreign language and learning a new career in a foreign language, it's a difficult thing, because even though my German was good enough, learning a career in the new language is so difficult, because you have these terminologies which you have to master really well. You have to sit for exams, you have to make presentations, you have to go for the practical part of the job. And it was quite a challenge, but I managed pretty well, and I graduated among, really top in the class. And it's something I can say is the best decision I ever made, because I love my job. I love to be a nurse, and we will be talking more about my nursing career in Germany, and we'll be talking more of all the things I've experienced, working with Germans, working in a hospital where you are the only Black person in the whole hospital. And there have been good experiences, they've been bad, but I'm glad that at least the good outweighs the bad. See you next time. Subscribe to this channel, and I'm sure we will learn a thing or two. Bye bye. See you next time.